Good morning, my dear children. Welcome to this virtual session of Class 7 Grammar, Chapter 12. The chapter we are going to cover in this video is active and passive voice. Yes, children, so the lesson which we are going to do today is active and passive voice. So, what do you mean by active voice? So, active voice, in the active voice, a verb is said to be in active voice when the subject performs the action. Now, here, before starting active and passive voice, you should know in a sentence there are three main parts. The first one is the subject, the second one is the verb, and the third one is the object. Let us just try to understand this with an example. You can see on the screen the leopard chased the deer. So you just see here the leopard. So we are talking about what is the most important thing here is the leopard and what it is doing. So that is the verb, and what is the result of that. Okay, so that the deer, okay, is the object. So the leopard is the subject, chased is the verb, and the deer is the object. So this is a simple sentence in which the structure of the sentence is the subject, the verb, and the object. So now you just try to see this. The first sentence, the leopard chased the deer. So here the verb. Now you just try to understand the definition of the active voice, that is a verb. So a verb is said to be in active voice when the subject performs the action. Now what is the subject here, children? The subject here is the leopard. Now is the subject performing an action? Yes, it is performing an action. And what is that action? The action is chased. So this action is the verb. And what is it chasing? It is chasing an object. When you ask the question what the leopard is chasing, you get an answer to it, and that is the leopard. So the leopard is that is the deer. Sorry. So the deer is our object. So just you see the leopard chased the deer. So the leopard is subject here, chased is the verb here, and the deer is the object. So this sentence is an example of active voice. As in an active voice, a verb is said to be in active voice when the subject performs the action. Now let's just see another example. Okay, children painted these pictures. So now you just see here also we have the first word, that is children. So children is the subject here, painted, so this is an action. Okay, so it's a verb, and what is being painted? The pictures. Okay, so the pictures are object here. So the example, children painted these pictures. So this is an example of active voice. Why? Because here the subject is the doer of an action. Okay. Now let us just see what about the passive voice. Okay. Now when the verb in a sentence shows that the subject is not the doer of the action, the verb is in passive voice. Okay, it is just opposite of the active voice. Once again, I'll just repeat it. when the verb in a sentence shows that the subject is not the doer of an action, so the verb is in the passive voice. Like, for example, let us take one sentence over here. A letter was written by me. So now what is the subject here? The subject is a letter. So now the letter was written by me. So subject is not doing any action over here. Okay, it is not the doer of an action, but it is the receiver. Instead, it is the receiver of the action. Let us just try to understand the passive voice with one more example, and that is an apple is being eaten by him. So in this sentence, an apple is the subject, okay, and this apple is being eaten, okay, and by him. So here it is, the subject is not at all the doer of an action, but it is a receiver. That means somebody is eating an apple. So an apple is being eaten by him. Okay, so he is eating the apple is not the doer of an action, but a receiver. It's being eaten by him. Now let us just yeah, so I think we'll just, yeah. So now let us just take the second thing here is that when do we use the passive voice? Okay, uses. So the uses of the passive voice are, the passive voice is performed. When do we use the passive voice? When the doer of an action is unknown. Okay, we do not know who is the doer of an action. Second one, the doer of an action is irrelevant. Okay, we are not bothered about who's performing or who's the doer of an action. In the third case, it is talking about a general truth when we speak about the general truth. And the last one is to emphasize the person or the thing acted upon. So here we are not emphasizing on the doer of an action, but rather than if the person or the thing acted upon, that is rather than the object. Now let us just start with the rules for conversion from active to passive voice. Okay, so now the active voice can be converted into passive voice. For that, how do we do that? The first rule is the subject and the object are interchanged. That is, in the active voice, the subject is made the object and the object is made the subject. So interchanged, the subject and objects are interchanged. We will see with the help of more examples. Then the preposition by. So the preposition by is usually added before the object. In the passive sentences, we make use of the preposition by. And the third thing is the verb is changed to the past participle. That is the third form of the verb. Has eaten, has written. Okay. So the third form of the verb, or you can just say to the past participle. So the verb is changed to the past participle. That is the third form of the verb, and a new auxiliary is added to the past participle form of the verb. If the subject of the object in an active voice sentence is a pronoun, so if the subject is a pronoun, then it changes. Okay, that also will be seen. Now that we are going to see right now with the help of an example. Like, for example, I wrote a letter. Okay, I wrote a letter. This is a sentence. So this is the active sentence. Why? Because I is here the subject. Okay, wrote a letter. So a letter is the object and wrote is the is the verb. So I wrote a letter. So this is a active voice sentence. Why? Because the subject, that is, it is the doer of an action. Okay, what is the action here? Writing a letter. So this can be changed. Now what are we going to do? The object we are going to interchange into the subject, and that is a letter. Because it is a past tense, simple past, so we have to, and what we should do here, as the second rule, we as the second rule, the verb is changed to the past participle. Okay, so we are going to wrote, we are going to change it as was written. And I, so here, that is the thing we are talking about, that pronoun changes. I is the subject, and it is a pronoun, so it is written by I. No, that will be wrong. It will be changed uh, me. I will change into me. So a letter was written by me. I wrote a letter. That is a active voice sentence changes into a letter was written by me. Let us try to understand this with one more example. So, in which the subject is a pronoun. So now you just see, he is reading a book. A book, he is reading a book. So this is, he is the subject, which is a pronoun, is reading. So present continuous. So he is reading a book. A book is the object. So you can make this sentence as a book. We are going to make it as the subject. So a book is being read by him. So he becomes here him. So that is the thing, that according to the rule number 5. Okay, if the subject is a pronoun, it changes, he changes to him. Yes. Now some more rules. Now if the subject in the active voice sentence is unknown, or is unimportant, okay, such as we, they, people, somebody, etc., then what do we do in that case? Okay, so what do? We will just uh, object is omitted in this case. Let us just try to understand this with the help of the example. We make butter from cow's milk. Okay, so this is the sentence which is in active voice. We make butter from cow's milk. So we is here subject, make is here the verb, and butter is here the object. So now here the subject is not so important. Okay, so so we can omit it, like for example, butter is the object, now it becomes the subject. So butter is made from cow's milk. Who's making? That is not so much importance. That is unimportant. So butter is made from cow's milk. Now let us see one more thing, one more rule. If the verb in the active voice sentence has a model in it, the verb is changed to. Now let us just see, if an active voice sentence has a model in it, so the verb is changed to model plus be plus the past participle. Now let us just understand this with the help of an example. Rajesh can lift this box. So the verb is in the active voice. Okay, active voice sentence. So Rajesh can lift this box. So Rajesh is the subject, doer of an action. Can lift, lift is the verb, and here can is used, a model is used here. Okay, this box is the object. So now let us change it into passive voice. This box, okay, now it will become the subject of the next of the our sentence, that is, this box can be lifted. Lift verb is to be changed into past participle, that is the third form. So this box can be lifted by Rajesh. So model plus be plus the past participle. This box can be lifted by Rajesh. So this is the passive voice. Now let us take up the table. Okay, just see the table below shows how active verb from form is changed into the passive form in the different tenses. The first one is in the simple present tense. Let us just see here. He eats an apple. Okay, so this is simple present tense. So the an apple, which is the object, that will become the subject. An apple is eaten by him. Okay, now let us take up the second tense, that is present continuous tense. He is eating an apple. So he is eating an apple, present continuous tense. So let us change into the passive form. An apple is being eaten by him. Eating will become the past participle form, that is third form. So an apple is being eaten by him. Now let us take the next tense, that is present perfect tense. So in perfect tense we use have and has. So the example is he has eaten an apple. So how are we going to make it into a passive sentence? An apple has been eaten by him. So this, yes children, with this we come to an end of this video. I hope this video is going to be helpful to you.